Hello everyone and welcome to this month's edition of BluebeamMeUp. BluebeamMeUp is a series of webinars run by Brighter Graphics, and this month we're in an auspicious occasion because we're celebrating 2 years of running these events. Over those 2 years and 24 webinars, we've had thousands of people come and attend and go through a range of topics, all covering Bluebeam, and the feedback from you guys has been absolutely immense. So thank you very much. And what's more pleasing to see is that so many people that were there in the first year are still attending the webinars today. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to my colleague Troy DeGroot, and he's going to be focusing this month on, as the Americans call them, punch books, however, as they're more commonly known in the UK, snagging list.
Good afternoon, Bluebeamers. My name is Troy DeGroot with U Chapter 2, and I'm excited to partner with the team at Brighter Graphics to deliver world-class Bluebeam training and customization services, empowering you to get the most out of your Bluebeam investment. Kicking off another monthly webinar, this one focused on snagging lists or collecting field data. I have a lot of tools, functionality, and workflows to show and talk about in review, but we have an opportunity to showcase the new Bluebeam Cloud. With this new solution, Bluebeam Cloud allows you to effortlessly mark up and collaborate on project documents and manage snagging lists, RFIs, and submittals on the go. Today we're going to start out in review showing you how to place punch symbols with embedded data and images, and how spaces can help organize and locate information on site. Next, we'll show you how to filter and sort the information, including statuses and responsibility. Once collected, I'll show different ways of presenting or sharing information in reports or legends on the sheet. And before I finish today, I want to jump into Bluebeam Cloud and show a few easy ways to create and manage punch items from any device, anywhere you have a data connection. And of course, after we show you what's possible, we're always available to follow things up with more in-depth training. So let's dive in. So for this example, I just opened up a basic drawing. I also went to the review menu up at the top and went down to profiles, and I opened up the field issues profile. What that's going to do is change your profile or your interface. So your tool layout may look a little different throughout the perimeter of the interface, but I want to highlight here in the tool chest, there are several snagging list items or punch list symbols in here that you can utilize and build on. Basically, you're just going to select any of these symbols. There's electrical, flooring, lighting, paint, plumbing, as examples, carpentry, and you're just going to select these from the tool chest and go ahead and place those anywhere on your project, on your drawing. What you'll notice is in these symbols, if we look at our markups list at the bottom, it's also creating a list down here of all of our markups up top. So it's telling us the page label that it's on. The subject is carpentry. It says who did it and when. And then there's comments built into that symbol. Door magnet at stop not working well, adjust. So I know what needs to be done. I know what that standard symbol means. And I can place different symbols throughout my project. Different issues in different rooms, and those keep accumulating on my list. Once they're in the list, now as we start to complete those punch items, that snagging list, we can come into our status. So this particular one, if I fix that door, I can go ahead and come in here and double click on the status for that item and mark it completed. And I've got mine set up so that once I mark that complete, it's actually going to turn it yellow. So it's as if I marked that off with a yellow highlighter, marking it complete. And then if you look at here, it's marked complete by me on this date and this time. Now, if someone needs to come in as a follow-up and they reject it, that status is going to come in here as well, and we can't remove those. So a great way to go through and place symbols of things that need to be done and track the status. So let's jump over to another example that I have a little bit more built out. Here I built out my own tool chest. I created a punch tool set for structure. I picked dark red for those. Mechanical punch, I selected orange. Electrical is yellow and plumbing is blue. So what that does is it creates a visual language for me to go through as a general contractor, mark up all these different disciplines, but have my subs be able to look and see exactly which ones are theirs. It's very clean and simple to know which ones are plumbing, which ones are mechanical, and so on. So in this example, I did the same thing. I went through, I placed my symbols throughout the project. Some of these I attached images. So if you look at this markup here, it has a lens. That means I have an image attached to it. When I click on that, it opens up my flipbook. And I've got a couple fun images here throughout the drawings. Another skylight repair. When I click on that one, I get another image there. And to attach those, all you need to do is select any markup, any one of these, select it, right click, go down to capture. If you have a device in the field with the review on it, you can go from camera. Devices like a Surface Pro, something like that. Otherwise, we're going to go from file, go out to where we have our images saved, and we just select whatever images we want associated with that markup. I'll just grab a handful here as an example. You can select more than one. I'm going to say open, and there you can see that lens shows up. And when I click on that, again, the flipbook opens, and I can use my arrows here to flip through the different images associated with that markup. Click out of it to minimize that flipbook. We can also attach 360-degree images. So I just made up this symbol here. When I click on that, it opens it up a 360-degree photo. So I can navigate around and see all the information, more than what I went out to collect. Now looking closer at how I have this set up, you'll notice that each room is also colored in. That's because I created spaces inside of each room. And what that means is down here in my markups list, I can sort things by space. So I have a column over here. If I click on the top of that column, it's going to sort things by space, which means I've sorted everything by room number. So everything in room 1255, I have all of those punch items, and those were created simply by placing those inside of that space. So here's this purple area here within these walls is my 1255 space, and all three of these items are going to show up on that space in my markups list. Okay, so I've got each room separated by space. Another thing that I did once I created a bunch of these markups is created legends. And I made them, I broke them out by discipline. So I have one for structure. It has the symbol, the description of the symbol, and the comments that are built into that. For the mechanical one, I turned on a quantity as well, so I could see how many of the return air ducts are required. Same thing for electrical and plumbing. And I could even add spaces to my legend, or any number of columns from my markups list into these legends as well and tell me where those 4 are needed. So those are legends. And we already talked about status. In here, go to my status, and I come in here and mark this one completed. With this one, I have my customization in there, so it does give me the time and date, but it also grays it out so that it's not drawing attention anymore. If I double click and mark that rejected, it's actually going to make it hot pink so that it attracts attention. So I can set up those custom colors for statuses as well. And then I actually built a custom column in here called responsibility so that I could select any of these markups and assign them to specific subcontractors or specific people. So if I double click in here, I can assign things to McCam and McCam. And this one's going to go to DeLong. And what that does is it allows us to sort and filter by any one of these columns. If I filter my list and I click on the status, I can show only the things that are blank. And what that means is I have a list here of all the things that I need to do or my subcontractors need to do. Once all of those statuses change, this list will reduce itself down to nothing. So I know that my list is done. Or I could, if I turn this one off, I could filter my list to only show the ones that McCam was assigned. So then he can go through and change the status of his, and only his markups, because they're filtered, only his markups are going to be in color. So we can really manipulate how this data is given to us through responsibilities, statuses, legends, sorting the markups list as well by room, like we mentioned. And the next thing I want to do, now that we've gone through here and I've shown you an example of how this all works in Revu and how nice it is to organize this information, we're going to take a dive into Bluebeam Cloud. Okay, now we're in Bluebeam Cloud. And here you can see I'm logged in. I've got my workspace here where I can have documents to mark up and work on before I share with anybody. And I can also go to the projects section over here, a list of projects. I'm going to go ahead and click into my existing project. And in here you can see the drawings I have uploaded, the site address. I can invite and view team members. And here at the bottom of my dashboard, I can see my punch items. I have 2 items active, 2 overdue, and I also have 1 open RFI. So getting more into this information here, we can go to folders over here. I'm going to go into drawings. Here you can see I've got a basic drawing set that I put together, and I can click and look at any of these drawings. And here you can see I have some markups, I have some punch items. So let's go ahead and show you how to do that. Once I open a drawing, you can see I have my tool sets over on the left side. I've got basic markup tools that I can use here. Otherwise, in my tool chest, I can also add tool sets from Revu. In here, I've actually done that, where I've brought in some punch tools that I created in Revu a while back, brought those in, and they come in with the symbol and the information that was built into them, the comments. So if I click over here and I click on one of these markups and I look at my markups here, let's go ahead and click on this again. You can see that it has the name, and it's telling me this was the comment that I had built into that tool, some directions on how to repair that particular punch item. Down here, same thing. This one's for crack, and you can see when I select the different ones, it's selecting the different markups over here. And these are the directions for fixing that damaged area. So our punch markup tools is one way to place these symbols, to do punch or snagging lists in Bluebeam Cloud. You'll see here that in those items, you can also mark these accepted, rejected, canceled, complete, or none. So you can track the status and sort them that way. So that is the markup option. And then we also have a punch option here. So if I select that and I go in and place a punch symbol somewhere, it's going to open up this dialog over here where I can start to enter in the information for that particular punch item. So this is where I might say slab at wall. And then here, just some directions or whatever description I want to put in here. And then we can set the priority. So if it's hot, high, normal, or low, we can put due dates in there. We can assign these to different people that we've added to our team. We can add groups. We can assign it to a discipline. And these are all items, ways that we can filter and search for these. So this is going to be a concrete issue. I can upload a photo and then save that punch symbol or that punch mark. Okay, it gives me a preview of where that is in the drawing, has all my notes in here, so on and so forth. And in doing that, it's actually sending an email that I've created a punch item, and I can start to go through. We can have conversations in here about this with different subcontractors or whoever's working on these. They can put notes in here, but we can track the progress of these punch symbols within our drawings, within Bluebeam Cloud. And you can do that in drawing view, or I could go to map view. If I come over back to here, if I go to map view instead of drawing view, this is going to bring me to the map of the site where I can turn on the individual sheets. I've already brought those in as layers on my site. So you can see here, this is where that building sits on the site, and I can turn on these different layers. When I make the foundation visible, I can see the punch items that were placed on the foundation plan. So here's the one we just placed. Notice it's only the punch symbols, not the markups. So these are different punch items. If I turn on my roof plan, I can turn off the foundation. Here you can see I don't have any punch items yet for the roof. And the same thing here, you can go ahead and let's go back to the roof and place one there. I can place a punch symbol here, tell it what layer to go on. I want it to be on my roof plan. And then I can go and place my symbol hand frame where the roofs connect. And I'm going to set the priority to normal, open status, a due date, assign this to someone again, set the discipline, carpentry, there we go. Upload a photo if I want to, and save that. And that places that symbol on my plan in the map view, and it's all being tracked over here in my punch items. So now if I go back to my dashboard, you can see now I have 4 punch items, 2 are overdue in my project dashboard. And as you can see over here, we can also track documents, RFIs, submittals, not just drawings. The RFI section is over here, and we'll talk more about those in a different webinar. All right, that wraps up snagging lists for today. I hope you learned a few things and you can apply to your work immediately, including Bluebeam Cloud. As always, we have training courses centered around these topics and examples. If you have any questions regarding training or customization services for your company, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or the team at Brighter Graphics. One last thing, we've been running these BluebeamMeUp series webinars for nearly a year, and we don't want to stop anytime soon. If you have topics you'd like us to talk about or revisit from the past webinars, please reach out to us and let us know. I've always stretched myself to be relevant and knowledgeable about everyday in the trenches workflows, so I'd love the community to drive us forward. Thanks for hanging out again this month. I'll turn things back over to Darren and Sean.
Hey guys, it's great to see how much it can actually be covered in 22 minutes of an experienced user. So as I mentioned, there's Troy running through punch books, as the Americans call them, and snagging lists as they're known in the UK. As Troy mentioned, if there's any particular topics that everybody wants to cover in future webinars, I mean, feel free to drop us a recommendation, and we'll endeavour to do our best to include those in future webinars. Just to give you a highlight about webinars coming up. So first and foremost, I just want to recap about our YouTube channel. All of the webinars are on the YouTube channel. They're also on our website as well. So as I mentioned, there's 20 minutes and there's a whole host of things that Troy goes through relatively quickly. If you do want to pause and rewind and go and watch the webinar at your own pace, feel free to go to the YouTube channel or alternatively go to the website and you can watch all previous webinars. The other thing I'd like to mention is the upcoming webinar, which is using spaces in Bluebeam Revu, a relatively less used function, which is on the 25th of April. Again, it's a Tuesday. We always endeavour to do the webinars on the last Tuesday of every month. It's the 25th of April, 2 p.m. So love to see you guys on there. The one following that, which is a really popular topic that we get asked about a lot of the time, is quantity link.
More and more people are starting to use Bluebeam Complete, which is a piece of software that Troy's just given you an insight into. So a quantity link is available within Complete. So if you would like to get into that feature of the product, join us on the webinar on the 30th of May. In the meantime, thank you very much for attending, and thank you for the support over the last 2 years. And I'll leave you to have a great afternoon and speak to you soon.